I am Andy. I am an engineering lead here at Microsoft. I lead a team that builds our services SDKs, our gaming services SDKs. That means like the Xbox Live SDK, and the PlayFab SDK, which we're going to talk about today. So let me get a screen up here. Here we go. So what I'm going to show today, we're going to get into the weeds a little bit. There's going to Visual Studio will make an appearance here at some point, in addition to the Unity editor. What we're going to do is kind of put some of what Brendan and Andres talked about, put it into practice, show hopefully relatively quickly, and assuming things go smoothly, how you can take a basic game. This is going to be a basic Unity sample. It's this endless runner sample from that Unity puts out to help people learn the engine. And we're just going to add a little bit of PlayFab functionality to it. We're going to add a login, a little bit of a leaderboard, and then add some basic player events that I can use for telemetry or triggering other functionality, things like that. I've already created a game for this, a title for this in PlayFab here. I've used this for a couple of times now, so it's already got a couple of players in it. It's already got my leaderboard created, things like that. So let's go back into Unity and get going. So I've already installed our PlayFab editor extensions. If Unity isn't your language or platform of choice, we have SDKs for a lot of different languages and platforms. You can kind of see the list here, along with all your favorite game consoles, things like that. But Unity for today. So let's go ahead and install the PlayFab SDK. This should just go out and grab the latest. And this is all going to be live. So if things don't go exactly smoothly, I apologize, but I don't like recording these sorts of things. And generally this goes pretty quick. It's a Service Book 3. It's pretty fast. You know, it's only fast when I'm not presenting, maybe. Maybe that's the trick. But Teams broadcasting uses up. No, it's pretty efficient, I'm sure. Well, there we go. Reloading the script assemblies after compiling the script assemblies. Yeah. Dangers of live demos, I suppose. Nothing's gone badly yet. We're just kind of waiting. I can go back over to PlayFab a little bit and kind of show what I've already set up in here as well. You can see I've already logged in a few players over here. This is a demo I've been running for a little while. I've presented it a few times. And then in the leaderboards, you can see that I've already created one called rank, which we'll use here in just a little bit. All right, I believe we got the latest PlayFab SDK. I'm going to ignore this call to update it. I'm on a good enough version, I'm pretty sure. So without further ado, let's run the game. Just make sure that that works before we get too deep into this. And I see some UI. Yay, game works. All right, we're not gonna run this whole thing right now. There we go. Okay, so we've got a functional game with the PlayFab SDK installed. You can see that down in my assets. So that all looks great. So First thing we want to do is I've got my little cheat sheet here. I'm just not going to live code this, but we are going to make some changes, add some code, and I'll walk through the code as we're adding it as well. So first of all, we want to go into GameManager.cs. Oh, Visual Studio 2022. Yes, I installed that just earlier in the month. So we got PS 2022. We've got our game. This is the game's game manager class, which handles a lot of the basic operations of the game. And so one of the first things we want to do is just add a simple PlayFab login. So let's go over into here. First, get my namespaces out of the way. Just add the PlayFab namespaces. And then I want to add a couple of methods, and we'll talk about what these do. Just add them at the end here. All right, so this awake method, that's a Unity thing. It's going to execute. I don't actually recall the precise time, but near the start of the game, it is going to execute. We're going to, and then we're just going to make a PlayFab login with custom ID request. I'm going to give it a new randomly generated, guaranteed to be randomly generated custom ID. I'm going to tell it to create a new account for my player here as well. And then we're just going to request user data. I'm not actually using that as part of this demo. It's part of a longer demo. And then these other two methods here are just responding on success, on failure, giving me a little bit of logging so that if things really go off the rails, we can do some live debugging, which would be fun, but I'd really rather not get there. So with that added, let's get back into Unity. Let it recompile, get the additions. There we go. Now, one of the things I want to do while instead of just showing it is I want the PlayStream monitor going. You may have seen this during Brendan's talk earlier, but what's going to happen is while I am running this, we should see a login event occur over on the right, assuming, oh, I want to do one more thing. Let's get this connected to the right studio as well. It is in the public studio. It is my Unity integration demo. All right, let's give that a run. Hey, there we go. A bunch of events. Client focus change, entity created. We've got a player linked account, player created, player logged in. That all seems to work just fine. So let's. I want to run through the game real quick. Show you a little bit about what this game does without any PlayFab integration. I am going to be very bad at dodging obstacles for obvious time reasons. There we go. So we got a game over. It generates a score. I've got a local player here. It's got a leaderboard that I can take a look at. And that's basically all there is to the game. There's some virtual currency, and the longer demo, I could go into the virtual currency and stuff like that. But for now, it's enough to know that we've got a player, and now there's a leaderboard that we want to modify. So we've got this game to the point where we're logging the player into PlayFab. So now let's do some stuff with this leaderboard. Specifically, I want to change the leaderboard from just a local leaderboard of my own local high scores to a global leaderboard where I can compare my highest score with the high scores of everybody else that could be playing the game. So in order to do that, we're going to add a little bit more code. This one, so going to add code kind of in two blocks. First of all, we're going to go into the class game over state. So game over state, as the name implies, is just the class that manages once the game ends, what do we run? So let's get our PlayFab namespaces added back in here. And then the other thing we're going to do is put a little bit of code into the enter method. Sure. All right, so we're adding a little bit of code into the enter method. This code is, again, it's going to make a PlayFab API call. Specifically, what it's going to do is update the player statistics. So this is just the API that says, hey, this player needs to update a statistic called rank, and here's the value to use. And you'll note I'm doing this every time. I don't need to understand the logic of like is this player's highest score, anything along those lines. If I go back into PlayFab and I look at that leaderboard configuration and go into rank, that's actually just add the leaderboard. We'll see that this is actually set to use a maximum aggregation method. So it's actually only going to update this player's score in PlayFab if the new score is a new maximum. And I could reset the score and stuff like that, but I'll just have to continually do better through the course of this demo. And then so we're adding the score there. Oh, and I want to add a couple of handlers for success and failure. Again, just in case things go wrong, I like to have a little bit of debugging. All right. And that should get us to the point where if we go back into Unity, let it recompile. Give it a moment. Okay. Let Unity recompile. What we should see now, after I hold on for a moment, going to switch off the PlayFab editor here in a moment. May have made it unhappy with all of my window switching. All right. Let's go ahead and run this real quick. Yeah, see our login again. This is just a player login. We don't see the player created and things like that, which is expected. Let's do a run, and then I want to find that leaderboard update to make sure we're updating the leaderboard correctly. Let's get a few little bony fish. Run into log. We hit a rat. And all right, there we go. Game over. And there is our player statistic changed. All right, so we got a score of 130, which aligns with the score that we got there. So everything seems to be going exactly as planned. Okay, next step in displaying our leaderboard. So in addition to updating the score, we'd also like to show the global leaderboard. So let's go into the UI in here, and there's going to be a leaderboard class. So add our usual namespaces. I'm going to use a dictionary for this. So let's add collections generic. And then this is going to be a little bit more code. I will walk through it, but there's nothing too fancy going on here. And some of it is really just Unity stuff anyway. So two new methods we added. One is a toggle, so that we're going to add a button so that we can toggle back and forth between a local leaderboard and a global leaderboard. And this is just as you might expect, going to enable track the state, and then make our PlayFab API call. Specifically, the call we're interested in is get leaderboard, and we're going to try to get the leaderboard for that rank statistic that we already created, and we want the top 10. We're doing this pretty simple. I could also get the leaderboard around my player or something like that, but we're staying really simple, just going to have the top 10. And then populate global ends up being the handler for when this succeeds effectively. And it's just going to do some Unity UI work. It's just going to iterate through the leaderboard results and add table entries for each of the players in the results. It's technically set up to use either a display name or a PlayFab ID. I didn't do the work to hook up a display name for our players, so we're just going to see hexadecimal PlayFab IDs for each of these scores. So don't be surprised when that happens. And I want to do one other thing within Unity after it recompiles here. Want to get actually get the button added so that we can toggle back and forth. Give me a little bit more real estate to work with. All right, you want camera. We are going to be in leaderboard background. We're gonna duplicate the close button real quick. Call it the LB toggle button. Position, we're going to put it in the top right of the leaderboard display, offset back 60 pixels. Source image, I actually want to use there's an orange border that I'd like there. Use that, and let's hook up the event handler as well. On click, close. We're going to hook it up to toggle open global. All right, let's save all of that. It's a fair bit that changed, so bear with me. Let's get back here so we can see our play stream and run it again. All right, got our login working. That's expected. All right, let's get. I want to get let's get another score here. I don't really care if I do better or worse. All right, 112. That's worse. Game over. Wonderful. So let's take a look at that leaderboard then. Okay, we've got our button. The button worked. Now when I toggle over, yeah, I've got a global leaderboard. So this was my 130 score from earlier. Apparently I got a 112 sometime in the past on a different player. So that's a little bit confusing because I think I just got a 112 as well. I've done better in the past, but then, I had to play for longer to do that. So, take what you can get. So yeah, and we got toggles back and forth. Cool. All right. So we've got the leaderboard working as well, all based on that PlayFab backend. So I want to demo one last thing, which is probably one of the most useful things I'm going to show here, which is going to be adding just a little bit of telemetry to the game. Telemetry, or what we talk about it as just custom playstream events. So in order to do that, I want to add an event specifically. Oh, lost my window. I want to add an event specifically when a player starts a race. So in order to do that, I'm going to want to go into the track manager, which was track manager right here. All right. So open that up, add the usual namespaces, and then this is going to be really easy and quick. So this is just adding one API call just, in this method down near the end. Let's just throw it right here. Like send one event to PlayFab. This is it builds a custom dictionary. This is just a JSON object, can be whatever I want to send up associated with this event. In this case, I'm getting the start time and the track theme. The game has a day and a night theme, so this will be the day theme here that we're sending up, and that's it. Now I should, whenever the game starts up, send a single PlayStream event. All right, we compiled that. Let's get that PlayStream back up. Start the game. Events flowing, and we'll hit run. There we go, run started. Right. All right, so yeah, client focus change. Yeah, that's expected. So there's our raw event JSON. We see the additional custom. We see the additional custom payload that I added to it, and it was just a little bit of C# code added. Not really bad at all. I could add as many events as I wanted. The cool thing about the PlayStream events is, in addition to being able to like aggregate them afterwards, things like that, you can actually action these in real time. You can grant rewards based upon the payloads within these events. There's really a lot of fun stuff that you can do that Brendan and Andres hinted at earlier today. All right, so with that, everything worked. I'm super excited that everything actually worked in a live demo. A little bit of delay here and there, but that is it.